Good afternoon, students. I am your subject teacher, Miss Algin L. Awing. And today we'll be discussing the lesson 4, module 3, Dale's Cone of Experience. So, we have here objectives. First, discuss the Dale's Cone of Experience in the use and design of technology-driven learning lessons. Second, explain the different concepts and/or levels of the using samples of a typical classroom. And lastly, provide applications of the Dale Cone of Experience in the learning to the usual classroom scenarios. But before we proceed to our discussion, let's have some activity. So we have here a list of instructional tools and tasks which as teacher usually conduct in the class. You must arrange this one based on the extent to which learning is the most concrete. Using instructional materials in a specific subject matter depends on the objectives of your topic. So, not all topics in mathematics use calculators. Not all lessons in science utilizes educational videos. Not all contents in English use flashcards. So in these times, these materials will be even more enhanced with the use of technology supported media in teaching. So who is Edgar Dale? Edgar Dale was born on April 27, 1900 and died on March 8, 1985 in Columbus, Ohio. An American educator who developed the cone of experience, which also known as learning pyramid. He also made several contributions to audio and visual instruction, which include a methodology for analyzing the content of motion pictures. So, the cone of experience of Edgar Dale is a visual model that presents the band of experience for the learners that is arranged according to the degree of abstraction. So, as the learner proceeds to the top of the pyramid, the more abstract the experience becomes. However, this does not mean that the degree of difficulty increases as well. So, Dale pointed out some important ideas that should be remembered in using this model. So, first, each band of experience stands for the experiences that are fluid, extensive, and continually interact. This means that various kinds of experiences often overlap and blend into one another. Learners may choose to just watch demonstration or experience the task by themselves afterward. Second, learning must not necessarily use the bands of experience systematically from base to the top of the cone. So, teaching may not always begin in the direct experiences but rather to the most appropriate experience that cater the needs and abilities of the learners in the learning situation. Our daily interaction helps learn by doing, and these are concrete levels of learning that is natural in our lives regardless of our age level. Number 3. Using one kind of sensory experiences is not necessarily more educationally useful. Sensory experiences are mixed and interrelated. In a lecture, learners do not just listen but also read the content and the lecturer's facial expression. 4. Overemphasizing the direct experience in learning a concept is risky. When learners are so reliant to concrete experiences, meaningful generalization may to be obstructed to continue learning throughout life. A balance between concrete and symbolic experiences should be observed. So the cone of experiences has 3 types of experiences, which are the symbolic, iconic, and direct purposeful experience. So as we can see on the top of the pyramid are the verbal symbol and visual symbol. It belongs to symbolic experience which it can learn through abstraction. Second is the middle part, which are the recordings, radio, and still pictures, motion pictures, educational televisions, exhibits, study strips, and demonstration are belong to iconic experiences which can be learned through observation. And lastly, the bottom part is the dramatized experience, contrived experience, direct purposeful experience are belong to direct purposeful experiences which can be learned by doing. Based on the model, the cone is categorized into 3 subgroups. Direct experiences, where learners are actively involved in doing learning tasks. Second, iconic experiences where learners observe as learning is constructed. And third is the symbolic experiences where learners critically think and analyze the symbols presented for learning. So in these subgroups, there are three different bands of experiences that you can use in your future learning activities. Direct purposeful experiences as the very bottom and the foundation of learning. The five senses are utilized in order for the learners to be involved in learning themselves. So contrived experiences means since some learning are not accessible to learners, conventional and digital instructional materials which will be discussed in the first lesson, the fifth module, will be designed to process real-life experiences accessible to learners' perception and understanding. Third is dramatized experiences. Since some learning experiences have undergone in the past or are not accessible for learning, experiences may be reconstructed to create a similar scenario using the same elements of situation. So, iconic experiences. Demonstrations. These are visualized explanation of significant fact, idea, or process using photograph, drawings, displays, or guided motion through showing how these things are done. Next is study trips. These are visits to places in which learning is made closer to the learners as important ideas are not with the context of the classroom. Next is exhibit. These are displays to be seen by the learners which showcase the best work to represent the entire concept. So the pictures, models, charts, and posters may just to the eyes of the learners only. True, there are some exhibits that allow them as sensory experiences. Next is television and motion pictures. These are audiovisual display of a certain situation or event in order to bring these experiences closer to the learners. With the creativity of the film used, learners get to explore the different perspective or portraying the message and events of what has been watched. Next is still pictures, radio, and recordings. These are visual and auditory devices used to express an idea of the concept. Still pictures may be picture and photograph, while radio and recordings are audio records to broadcast events and discussion. Symbolic experiences. Visual symbols means the images portrayed may not be seen in the environment around you, since these are highly abstraction representations of reality. While verbal symbols means these are not objects nor images that usually express idea, but are written symbols incorporated in an abstract way for learning. Written words belong in this category. Tone of experience gives us a guide on how instructional tasks are designed in the classroom, and also how the bands of experiences are utilized in the teaching, learning process in any discipline. Direct purposeful experiences is by letting learners how to manipulate a microscope. They can be able to operate and see every part themselves, rather than just showing them an image to be followed by the discussion on how each part functions. Second is contrived experiences. It means it's very hard to find a caregiver just to discuss how the organs of the digestive system are arranged. So a mock-up will be used for learners to explore how parts are placed, or moreover learning how to read the clock means using a tool that will allow learners to play with its fingers instead of really using a clock. Third is dramatized experiences. To be able to offer the learners a reminiscing time the Passion of Jesus Christ, a Muppet teacher may ask the learners to depict what had happened by performing the. Also, learners may also stimulate what may be the scenario when an earthquake hits a specific place, rather than just discussing circumstances. Based on the examples of direct experiences, above the learners are engaged directly in a way that they can perform and reflect what they have done. In this learning take place actively. This time, scenarios will be given about iconic experiences. Next is demonstration. Sometimes the resources in the classroom are just limited that the learners cannot operate and use those individually. So a TLE teacher may just show to the class how to make a pancake, or mathematics teachers may just present statistical tools solved using a statistical software in front of the class. Study trips. Usually, science teachers organize field trips so that learners can visit a planetarium, plant farms, and zoo. In this way, the learners will expose more of what really is the physical environment that allows diversity to prosper. Third is exhibit. Throughout the quarter, the teacher asked the learners in their art class to compile all the paintings, collages, and mosaics they have made. Then the teacher asked them to select their best work that depicts the work of the famous artist. In this presentation, learners of different classes visited the exhibit and was oriented with significance of their work. Television and motion pictures. Examples is literature teachers may use educational films to demonstrate legends and myth. The Odyssey may be taught well with the aid of the videos so that the learners can really visualize the characters and its settings and will eventually understand the story clearly. Still pictures, radio, and recordings. In their topic about speaking and English, teacher may utilize audio recordings so that every after the classes, the learners still have records to access whenever they can. In this way, the class may utilize the audio and improve their speaking skills based on the examples of the iconic experiences above. The learners get to observe learning as they watch and listen from the objects and situation given to them. So through this observation, the learners can perform a mental process for the information to make sense. Visual symbols. Geography teachers always ask the learners to read maps and identify the significant places. Moreover, science teachers may design infographic to illustrate relationship of objects and scientific process that the learners have to understand. Lastly is the verbal symbols. Mathematics teacher always give or sometimes create a formula so that the learners can efficiently perform mathematics processes in solving problems. So with these examples above on the symbolic experiences, utilize materials which do not exist around us, but are structure made by people in order to facilitate critical understanding. Learning is done in a way complex and requires greater mental load in order to fully grasp with what it means. Technology can still be applied in a cone of experience, especially in realizing the iconic and symbolic experiences. So, as we can see, digital technology is very useful in order to present educational films, images, audio, and other technological resources. As a matter of fact, the absence of technological tools may not realize the band of experiences in the complex level of the cone. Even if traditional tools are inevitable, digital media has made significant contribution in realizing the usability of the learning materials under each band of experiences. And that's all for our discussion this afternoon. Thank you for listening.